Okay, at this point you may be saying, all right, Jefferson, so you went to all these record stores. What was the best one? In this, was it in Manhattan? Was it in Jersey? Was it in Brooklyn? Well, the best records I got on this trip and the best record buy I've ever had in my life, in my 60 years, was not in any proper store. It was with Vinyl Rescue, guy in upstate New York in a little town called Ponoma. I only found out about it because my dear friend Alan Schneider knew Michael at Vinyl Rescue from years and years from dealing records in New York City. And he was saying, you know, it's 40 minutes up there, but he always has great stuff. You got to go up there. And I'm like, man, I want to, but you know, it's 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back. But I talked to Michael over the phone, and it turned out he had gotten in 5 boxes of records from a UK dealer named Clement. And I was like, well, if I don't go, I'm gonna regret it, because there'll probably be something I really wanted. And I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll just get up really early. My daughter goes into work at a stupid hour, like 6 in the morning. So even though it's still kind of on East Coast time, got up at 5, went and met my daughter. We drove to the Bronx, and she let me, dropped her off at her hospital. She let me borrow a car, and I drove up to Ponoma, and I met Michael. And I started looking at the records from the UK, from Clement. And I don't even know how to say this. I started, you know, open the first box, and I start seeing things like, oh, UK Some Girls with the uncensored faces. Okay, not too shabby. Oh, what's this? Oh, Rolling Stones Sticky Fingers with the large zipper. Very rare. And then I learned something about this. All these UKs are have TML stamped in the dead wax. Doug Sachs, the mastering lab. And for some reason, the UK and the European Sticky Fingers got that mastering. The US did not. I have a decent Monarch. But I put this on, and my God, the soundstage was wide and deep. The cymbals jumped out into the room. It's the best pressing of Sticky Fingers I've ever heard, other than the Virgin CD from 1994. I mean, as you know, Stones pressings can be problematic, but if you like Sticky Fingers, look for that. Look for a UK with TML, and you can't go wrong. So yeah, this is like the second or third album I pulled out. So I'm like, oh, okay, you know. And so I'm going through the boxes, and I'm seeing all kinds of heat, and I'm starting to get like a rush from it. And I get halfway through the second box, and I feel like I've got a heroin high or something, because I'm pulling up all kinds of heat, like stuff I've never seen in the wild, let alone see it all at once in one place. It was crazy. So a couple other things just to go through. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I didn't buy just because I couldn't afford it all. But I got a few really, really cool things. First, so let's just go in certain order. Darks, I Wish You Were Here, UK first, A1B3 Matrix with the postcard and the original sleeve, inner sleeve. UK Animals, first pressing, A1U, B1U. Led Zeppelin 3, first pressing with plum labels and the Page Plants credits. Let's see if I can just pull this out really quick. Plum label. So I'm freaking out at this point because I'm seeing all the heat. And so I keep going. What's next? Oh, White Album, original, UK, top loader, low number. I don't think I've ever seen one that low. And of course, all the pictures and the poster, and you know. And Clement had this stuff graded so conservatively. Like he would call this VG, right? VG was like, okay, that's original, sure. But then, you know, Michael was helping me while I was there going through the box of not even his records, and he was playing stuff for me and looking up on Discogs. This would be EX easily by any other English grader who tend to overgrade things. And then I realized, oh, the reason it's conservatively graded is that even though Clement is a UK dealer, he's a French guy, so he actually was grading this stuff pretty well. No slam on UK graders, but you know, it is what it is. Regardless, so it's all this great. Of course, original Public Enemy. I'm gonna buy a hip hop album from a UK dealer in New York, even though I live on the West Coast. So I don't know. It sounded great. It was a really good price too. Couldn't pass it up. And as I'm going along, suddenly we see, okay, oh, this is not a Robert Ludwig, although he did have one that I bought as well. This is a original UK plum label. And then it's got the credit Living Loving Wreck instead of Living Loving Made, which is apparently what the very, very first one was called. Track 2, I don't know if you can see that, Living Loving Wreck. Instead of Living Loving, she's just a woman. So I'm going through and I'm finding all this heat and I'm just freaking out, you know, because I'm like, how am I going to afford this? You know, can I even make a deal? I mean, do I want to? And, you know, it was a little nerve wracking too, because even though Michael was helping me, there was no way I could play grade any of this stuff. And because Clement had graded it so conservatively, it was like he listed everything VG, you know, VG plus. And I'm just like, it looks super clean to me, but I don't know. So it was a little nerve wracking because I didn't know how much I was going to buy. I didn't want to get stuff home and have an issue. So, you know, I play test as much as I can and all of it sounded amazing. So kept going. Oh, okay. Just throwing a Dark Side of the Moon. It's a second pressing, third pressing. It's the A3B2 matrix, has the blue sleeve, posters and stickers. You know, just been super, super clean, as you can see. So kept going. And I'm like, oh, okay. Then we get to this. Abbey Road, -2-1. No misaligned apple, but no Her Majesty. So properly aligned apple, but no Her Majesty credit. And then, you know, the red album and the blue album, original UK. And, you know, George Borden has been talking a lot about how these have been remixed somewhat atrociously by Giles Martin, and the fact that you can't really get the original mixes anymore unless you just find them in the wild or find them used, right? You can't buy a new version of these albums. So I was happy to get these. These are very cheap compared to everything else. So it's like, okay, original blue album, red album, UK, not much money. Can't pass it up. So I'm going along. And there's a lot of stuff I'm putting back, right? You know, there's UK pressings of Crut Rock, which I just bought a Crut Rock Yeti UK, right? But I couldn't buy it all. I couldn't buy it all. I had to put some stuff back. But my point is that something that I would have bought in a store in Manhattan or Brooklyn if I'd seen it on its own, when mixed in with all this heat, it was just like I had to pass it by. Anyway, kept going. First impression of Serge Gainsbourg, Jane Birkin. How beautiful she is. It's amazing. Keep going, and then I start seeing things like My Bloody Valentine, original pressing, UK. And then, you know, I'm like, okay, I got to stop. I'm just almost done here. But I start going through the last box, right? And the last box has this. SF Starro, original mono UK. Sounds amazing. Never even seen one of these in a while. I've seen represses, I've seen early presses, but never an original, and never in this kind of condition. Blue EMI label. And just when I think I'm about done, I stumble onto this. Booyah. Pink Floyd, Piper at the Gates of Dawn, original UK mono. I mean, look at that. As it turns out, this was okay. I mean, I got a pretty decent deal on it. It does have a skip though in Cymbeline, so that was a little disappointing. But of all the stuff I bought, and except for that one issue, which I may try and get rectified, I did really, really well there, and it was the best stuff that I got the whole trip. In fact, if I had to like keep this stuff, right, versus all the other stuff I picked up in all the other stores, I'd gladly keep this. And yeah, so that's basically it. The only thing I would add is that last but not least, Michael himself had a ton of heat and things I've been looking for a long time. So what did I get from Michael? For real, first of all, I got this 2000 George Harrison All Things Must Pass, which I think is the best sounding version of this. It's much better sounding than the atrocious box set reissue that came with, like, what did it have, a gnome and a piece of wood from a tree that was cut down on George Harrison's estate, and one of the most horrible, shouty, compressed mixes and remasterings I've ever heard. This sounds really good. It is digitally sourced, but the proof is in the pudding when you listen to it. The other thing I got from Michael, just a standard, working man's early reissue, Houses of the Holy with our Robert Ludwig mastering. Next thing was Bob Frank. He's a singer-songwriter from Memphis. This is like his only album. Then he did another one a few years later, and then he kind of fell into obscurity, but I think Record Store Day reissued this, either the last one or the next one. Very fun singer-songwriter, kind of like Southern Tom Waits, if that makes any sense, but proof's in the pudding. You make your own decision, but I highly recommend this. The other stuff from Michael, let's see, standard Led Zeppelin 1, George Pires mastering. I think it was a 73 or 77 on this guy. And last but not least, UK Houses of the Holy. So, overall, that trip to Ponoma was the best trip of the entire visit, and the best moment of the visit, other than, the beautiful meal that my son-in-law and my daughter cooked for me, and just being able to spend time with my family and meet a few friends up there. I met Mitch Mitchell, one of my friends from the OBC. I met Arnaldo, like I was talking about. And and I met a lot of people at these stores. Everyone was super nice, super helpful. And one pro tip, if you're going to go shopping in New York City for records, if you can swing it and you can bring cash, I always got a significant discount paying cash versus paying whatever with a credit card. So that's just something to keep in mind if you want to save a little money and you're going to be doing a big trip. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'm Jefferson at Tubelandia. So again, thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.